We are Loughborough UAV, a student-run organisation representing Loughborough University at the IMechE UAS Challenge. We've been in the competition since 2014, so it's very beginning, and it used to be run as a fourth-year project. But in 2018, the department decided to transition from a postgraduate project to a extracurricular activity.
What sort of UAS are we building? So it's a fixed-wing aircraft, right?
Yes, so we're building a fixed-wing UAV. And throughout the entire history of Loughborough UAV, we've been building fixed-wing aircraft. We think it's where we've got the best heritage, for want of a better word, and expertise, as well as the department is very, very specialized in fixed-wing aircraft, though it is transitioning towards quadcopters. So maybe we'll see something like that in the future.
Yeah. So I think the team, it says how large is the team. So I think the team is, I think it's 27 students plus 2 mentors. And there's a few external bodies helping. We've got a graphic designer. I think it's Izzy Ryan. Shout out to Izzy Ryan. How supportive do you think the university's been of the team? Because it's quite relevant to recent developments, I think.
Certainly. Loughborough has been on the lenient side when it comes to operating with restrictions. From the very beginning of the academic year, they were operating a hybrid teaching scheme of some digital, some in person. And so we decided, well, let's run a hybrid operating scheme for our design phase. And the university was very accommodating in allowing us to have one in-person weekly meeting on campus once restrictions had warranted that sort of thing to take place. And that has been the most beneficial thing, I think, to our design phase, because we can work on things digitally and have these discussions, but nothing will substitute just getting people in a room to hash out any sort of problems and get them dealt with, especially when it gets close to crunch time, like close to any of those deadlines. I think that's been a really good way that the university has helped us.
I think those team meetings also facilitated a lot of bonding within the team that wouldn't have necessarily manifested otherwise, because it's quite hard to just be friends through online meetings, really.
Mm-hmm. As a member of the manufacturing department, the fact that, one of the biggest worries for this year would be access to workshops, to tools, to just places where we can do manufacturing, and Loughborough has been very, very helpful in that sense. Whenever the restrictions have allowed it, we've been provided space and tools and help from all sorts. So the
university could have very easily said no. So we're really happy that they basically have sort of given us backing. I think we've ever really thought of ourselves as, like, let's aim to be the best in the UK or the Midlands or any region. I think we just look to win it outright.
Are we not thinking that?
I'm
thinking that.
I think what's good about this year's team is that people have a lot of personal goals, but personal goals that align with our company, or not company. We're not company yet, but align with our team's morals.
On that topic of the ethics and sort of the morals of the team, I think long term, the plans for the team are very much based around sort of setting up a good system for how things should be run, so that every year from now on, there's a high quality of like how the team operates, and like the sort of rules or like traditions that we stick to are like
groundwork.
We put a lot of groundwork this year, so people know what to do every year, because obviously the team will change every single year, and so I think a lot of that this year has been sort of setting up for future years' success as well. But there's not necessarily any sort of long-term goals. They're sort of winning, because I think there's more prizes in the UAS challenge than the competition itself, if that makes sense, through like personal development and stuff like that. What do we think Loughborough UAV brings to the UAS challenge in particular? I think that's a hard question, because I feel like a lot of teams bring similar things. I think our
the memes, we bring better memes.
We bring better memes. We certainly
our banter is more on top tier.
That isn't a terrible point. the camaraderie within this team
Yeah.
is far beyond something that I've seen across other teams. Now, a lot of teams publicize their stuff on social media, but you see that we have fun with everything.
I don't want to say that Loughborough UAV is bringing innovation, or because I think everyone is. Do you know what I mean? I think everyone is trying to innovate as best as they can. I don't think one team I can point at and saying, oh, they're not doing a great job. So.
And it's fantastic to see the community around the IMechE UAS challenge that's growing and trying to interact with one another. There's the Discord server, the WhatsApp chat, where all these people are all collaborating.
Yeah,
and if you're not on
definitely.
there yet, I would strongly urge you to go on there, because there's some very interesting people who are asking some salient questions and just having a lot of fun.
A question that you might not have thought of yet as well. So,
if we were to say somewhere where we are innovating slightly differently, I would say it's heavily within the team values, the whole reliable, sustainable and transparent thing. We are trying to push that very heavily in our design. And if we prove that, you can go down this very moralistic route in engineering and it pay off, currently it's proving actually to be cheaper. We have spent not a lot of money this year compared to in previous years at this stage. So we're happy in that regard.
Since Aryan's back, I think we'll move on to what problems COVID's basically presented and how we've dealt with them. So, Shane, you mentioned earlier, like generally speaking, like the meetings were potentially a problem, but we've sort of overcome them by running sort of a hybrid operation. I mean, Aryan, would you like to talk about the test flying and how COVID-19 has impacted test flying?
Well,
but we missed out on a few months of flying really because of February and March were essentially not a lot happened in person. Yeah, because of lockdown in the United Kingdom.
As long as we've been here, then.
Yeah, while we've been here, it's been fine. We have managed to get stuff done, but I feel like losing 2 months, which in quite a crucial part of the year, that's sort of been a problem. But I think the Easter holidays, that's allowed us to catch up significantly in flight testing, and it's happening quite regularly now. So I think that's kind of promising. So I don't think we've really overcome our issues as much as we've sort of weathered the storm of the issues.
You were going to say something, Aryan. What was that?
Oh, I was just saying it's even more impressive. We've missed on that chunk of time and still been able to do significantly more flight testing and tuning.
Yeah.
And finding out all the issues. Because from the look of the navigations team at the beginning, we can look at Google. We can look up, how to set up Artipart, how to do these things, how to make sure these things don't happen. We can look those up in real time, but that can't be having done those things already and be able to implement them. So the troubleshooting experience gained is super invaluable.
So I'm just saying, what would we have done differently, manufacturing wise, had there not been COVID-19 restrictions? What do you think we would have achieved without them?
Well, at the moment the plan is to have 2 aircraft built. And if restrictions weren't there, we would potentially be able to have 3 or maybe even 4 aircraft if the budget allows, just because of the amount of time that we would have been able to assign to people working in workshops. And I guess that might be one of the issues, but probably the other issue would be, the other thing that we would have done differently is we would have given a lot more people a lot more training on different machines, on different manufacturing techniques, just to build up their portfolio in order for them to help out in other ways, in order for them to grow personally and collectively as a team. So those were the 2 main issues, or main kind of changes that would have occurred if the restrictions weren't in place. But I do believe that even with the restrictions, we worked around the problems pretty well.
Yeah, I think we also probably would have looked at a bit more material testing.
Oh, 100%,
yeah, and that would have been on social media too, for transparency. And I think we probably would have been a bit more adventurous with our manufacturing methodology. But I think COVID sort of forced us down the very reliable route, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I think it would have been fun to try something new.
That's a very good point.
That being said, what we are producing
At the beginning
takes all
of
that
the
reliable
year,
stuff.
we were doing some tests. Sorry, Shane.
Oh, no, go ahead. Talk about the tests.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, we were doing some tests in terms of material tests. I think one of the first tests we did was in order to figure out which adhesive we should use within the internal structure, which was, we got the required data, we got the required information, and we made a decision based on that test. And without the restrictions, we would have done that for more or less every decision we would have made. We would have made our decisions based on, collected data.
Yeah, and I think
rather than some intuition.
Yeah. So after the January lockdown, we had to change the type of data that we were getting, because our idea was that we would pass design review 1, move on to manufacturing of a testbed aircraft in January, test that so that Arian can get his hands on an aircraft that's more representative to what our final aircraft Manta is going to be like. That all went out the window the moment that we went into lockdown, and so we had to change from getting all the physical data to simulated data. We decided that we could, because a lot of our team had gained the experience through computational engineering like CFD, FEM, so computational fluid dynamics, finite element modeling, and a couple other computational methods, we could gain that data. And by consulting other members of our academic roster, for want of a better word, we got a lot of confidence in our design. Talking about people being affected by COVID and in terms of being able to do certain things. But Karina, you've been on the propulsion team working on the tests for the Boreas system and the coaxial contra-rotating motor. How's COVID affected that sort of process?
I think just the time that we lost for testing over, Christmas, since like the third lockdown, all the way up until like a few weeks ago, that we weren't able to access the facilities in that time, so it set us back in terms of testing the Boreas and everything. That was the major setback. But other than that, because it doesn't require that many people, testing wasn't greatly impacted in terms of like restriction with people working on it. It doesn't need that many people.
Yeah, it was just that lockdown.
Yeah, when we were like...
Yeah, that was the biggest problem.
I think it's one of those instances where COVID has forced us to make critical decisions about what we can achieve within certain timeframes, which is, I think, very helpful for the real world, because there will be other external factors, not including COVID, that will affect design choices that are made when any of us go into industry. And I think it's a very valuable skill that we've all gained.
Adaptability. Yeah.
Maybe we add that one to the slogan.
So the next question is just what made you want to be part of the UAS challenge? I'll start with Shane, because why not?
I've never been particularly fascinated by specific aircraft. That's not why I wanted to go into aeronautical engineering. I'm more interested in the spacecraft, but this course has really pushed me to see the beauty and the wonder in the engineering of aircraft. But what I found most out of all of that is unmanned aircraft are incredibly cool. There is something just about the idea of being able to make machines do incredible things without any human assistance that I find mind-blowing.
Quickly, Ali, why did you do a UAS challenge? Before your iPad dies.
Almost kind of selfishly, I wanted more experience, hands-on experience building something. I really like seeing something go from design phase through to use. And the UAS challenge gave me the opportunity to get involved in something like that. And I also, that was kind of the main driving factor for me. But once I joined, I realized just how much I enjoyed it anyway. Just the whole ambiance around. being part of a challenge like this. That was my main motivating factor.
Okay. Ian, what made you want to be part of the team?
Okay, right. Well, the competition part, even though I said I'm really competitive, it's not the most important part to me. I just kind of came here because I knew that there were some really strong candidates in this team with lots of like expertise and knowledge. So I'm just here trying to like scrape off bits from them and like learn
Trying
a
to
bit
scalp
more.
knowledge.
Hope something
Yeah,
rubs off.
kind of similar to Ali. Also, yeah, building a huge plane and flying against other huge planes. Well, sounds like a fun thing to do, and
Yeah.
trying to make something like as optimized as possible. I don't think, as a hobbyist, I've built multi-developed RC planes before, designed to different degrees of depth, but I wanted to see like in this competition of this stature, like to what depth we can go and what methods people use for it. Yeah. Skills mostly.
Karina, if you're still there.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, why did you join the team?
So pretty much the same reason, just like hands-on skills, and then also I guess it's just, our course is quite, lectures and tutorials, but in this project you actually get to, do stuff and do stuff that you don't get to do on your course. That's kind of interesting, like these experimental concepts that we're exploring. There's not really something yet to do, and it's just fun.
Yeah, it's a nice break. What about me? I think everything's been sort of said. I think I don't know, I quite like the competitiveness of the competition. I quite like winning things. But I do think there's a lot of skills to be gained, almost too many amongst the entire team for you to do everything, I feel like. Because we've got such a wide range of skills that we implement to make these planes, and I think even just being exposed to them is like valuable. Just knowing what the limits of things are, and I think it's just really valuable experience for industry to be able to see a project start to finish, through design, through verification, through testing, manufacturing, see all those different stages. I think is really valuable, especially to someone who's looking to go into industry shortly. So I think it's just a very valuable experience. I think the question that sort of follows up to that is, what would you say to anyone thinking of taking part in the team, considering to join?
Do it.
I don't think any of us would say not.
I'd say join. It's just a lot of fun.
It's just a lot of fun. But be prepared to give it your all. I'd say the more fun it is, it's more fun the more effort you put in. Exactly. The more involved you are, the better it is, and we've got that sort of camaraderie within our team that makes people want to get involved with it.
Everyone knows it's a team effort, and everyone knows that it wouldn't be possible if one person had not done their part. I feel like it's 27 people's effort, not and it wouldn't have been the same plane with 26. Is what I'm trying to say. So I think everyone's got value. What would you say your proudest moment in the UAS challenge so far is? Anyone can start. I feel like we're really close to a lot of proud moments, because we're just looking at starting to build the plane now, and then shortly after that we'll be testing the plane, and shortly after that we'll sort of get autonomous flight basically completed. And I feel like those are going to be the real memorable moments, because that will be the culmination of all the work. That will be the sort of the finale. But has there been anything you've been proud of so far? I mean, anyone?
If silence illustrates anything,
I'll keep going.
No.
We've got full marks on both design reviews. Okay. I'm pretty proud. I mean, I know other teams may have got full marks as well, but I think there's still something to be proud of. Getting full marks is never a bad thing.
I think
put it that way.
The silence speaks volumes, as cliche as that sounds, because this is a team with a very, very high set of standards, in that we don't let a lot of things get us bogged down thinking, oh, this small victory is going to be foresight for what's coming next.
To summarize, we're happy with what we've done so far, but I think to be proud, we will like to see it finished and complete and working as we intended it to. I think that will be the moment where we're all proud of it.
The moment
I think what we could say is, look, think about how easy it could have been to not do it this year. You know, how easy it would have been to just say, you know what, COVID restrictions, how are we going to get an aircraft going?
But we, think of how easy it could have been for us to just say, you know what, COVID, we've got a design, let's just make that one. How easy it could have been to just give up on trying to come up with anything new like Manta or its launch system in the form of the catapult, and just give up in that regards, and
we're
try
still
not to push the envelope.
We're still improving, you know. It's good.
Okay. What advice would you give to other teams?
Try and involve everyone as much as possible, because especially with digital learning and digital kind of competitions right now, it's very easy for someone to get swept under the rug and not follow along. So making an actual valid effort to give everyone tasks, to make everyone involved, not only keeps the ball rolling, but also motivates people to stay involved. So that's I'm sure lots of teams have done that anyway, but if I had to give advice to like a new coming team, that's what I would say.
I'd probably say don't be scared to try something that you might not work. I think I say it a lot. I think it's sometimes better just to go with something, build it, see how it works, see what happens, think about maybe why it didn't work, and then make adjustments based off that. I think just looking at the designs from a lot of teams, a lot of people go for very traditional, very standard things, and I feel like the competition would benefit a lot from people being more adventurous, us included. I feel like I'd like to see, 20. I don't know how many teams. I think I go 30 plus. I'd like to see 30 plus completely different designs that no one's even thought about doing that. And I'm happy to lose to a plane that is, mind-blowingly innovative and no one's thought of and is outside the box. I think we can all appreciate a good design when we see one, even if it's not our own.
Yeah, I think those are some salient points. Anything we could say to our counterparts competing in this competition, it's that we are looking forward to meeting all of you either in a virtual competition or an in-person competition, and we look forward to working with as many of you as possible, either on social media endeavors or technical endeavors. We love solving problems at Loughborough UAV, probably a little bit too much. I know a lot of people are hampered by their situation for not being able to attend the in-person competition, and to them, I feel so sorry for them, because they're going to, I hope that they build their aircraft and just test it, because that does more, I think, for if you're going to compete in future years. Knowing how the building process works is going to improve your design process next year.
Yeah. So basically, advice to other teams is try and fail and learn rather than just not trying. Yeah.
Eloquent.
It's not very eloquent, but there you go. It works. How can we keep update with your team? Website. Loughborough UAV. Yeah, I'll link
a little flashy thing.
I'll make sure that a link is sent to ways. Social media. Instagram's going to be popping this Easter. Check it out. Tell your friends. Tell your mum. Tell your grandma. Sign her up. Get them all on. Get them all watching. Accounts. Get them all liking. Yeah. Make fake accounts. Follow us again. Bots.
Exactly. Bots. Get bots.
Anything. We'll take it all.
We'd like to give a big thank you to Graphite AM for providing additive manufacturing services for graphite and carbon SLS printed components. We're intending to use them for the Boreas system, which is our cooling system for our motor. but we're also going to try and feature that in a couple of other places on the aircraft and the catapult. We'd like to give a thank you to Easy Composites for providing us with carbon fiber, glass fiber, and epoxies at a discounted price. It's a really good sponsorship to go for, and if any of you in the UK are using any composites, hit them up, and their 10% discount for student teams is something worth getting, especially when you're ordering it in such large quantities. And finally, a big thank you to magnet experts and First for Magnets. If you want to find them online, go to firstformagnets.com. A fantastic magnet supplier for a range of different types, who are helping to supply magnets for our custom rotors, the Boreas rotors of our motor, as well as magnets that are going to be used for access panels around the aircraft to help with much quicker assembly and access to the aircraft. So a lot of key sponsors that are there to help improve our performance, and hopefully more to come.
Yep, hopefully. Any rivals to call out? I don't think we have any rivals. Like I say, the team changes every year, so I don't know grudges to hold.
I think there's no point in having rivals at this point. I think
the teams we think is like the best so far that we've seen. I'm trying to think of the planes they've posted.
A lot of the international teams are performing incredibly strong this year. When you look at them on Instagram, you've got Nust, Drone Team 20, Foxtrot, and I think those are the main ones that stick in my mind when you see them on Instagram. Yeah. They're doing a very professional job and certainly getting a lot further ahead. It just goes to show that those 2 months that were lost were really, really critical, but we've managed to make up in other ways, and we think that our strategy is going to allow us to get to their point sooner rather than later. So
I guess we should also thank the university for everything we've mentioned before. Some
key people to thank. We'd like to give a big thank you to the Loughborough University Aeronautical and Automotive Engineering Department for supporting us, providing us with facilities where possible, such as the Eccleston Student Engineering Centre or access to STEM Lab. A big thank you goes to Chris Harris and Simon Neal in STEM Lab, both technicians and operators who have a lot of expertise and are there to help us. A big thank you goes to the various academics who have congratulated us or helped us at various points. Dr. Georgios Mavros, who is a professor of electrotechnology at the department, Dr. Andrew Gramery, who's a senior lecturer in computational fluid dynamics, Professor Adrian Spencer, who is a researcher at the NCAP building on campus, which looks into gas propulsion and gas turbines, and finally John Newton, who's our academic lead, and without him none of this would be possible. A lot of thanks has to go to John for being able to deal with our requests, and personally, because I interact with him the most, I'd say, on the team. He's just always there to be able to answer any email that you've got, process orders, deal with any technical expertise issues, and make sure that there's nothing in our way.
When people ask what does Loughborough UAV bring to the UAS Challenge in particular, we say John Newton.